Well, good morning. How are you there? Welcome to this Monday morning, and I hope it's going well for you. My name's Christine, and I shall be your Google Digital Garage trainer for the morning. So what do you want to know? Today we're going to be talking about digital marketing strategy, and this is one of my absolute favourite topics. In fact, so much so that I have my friend Alison alongside me this morning, and Alison is going to be checking that I don't talk too much about it. That's not all she's here for. She's got a really important role as well. So both Alison and I have been engaged and working in digital marketing for an awful long time. So I'm a marketeer by trade. I have been working in marketing since before digital was even a thing. And as I say, I absolutely love being part of the marketing world. I've been lucky enough to work and do lots of work alongside Google as part of the Google Digital Garage project since 2015. And I will be taking you through our session today. Alongside me, as I've already mentioned, Alison. So Alison's our moderator today. She's in the chat already. Some of you might have already met her. And she's going to be interacting with you, answering some of your questions, basically just being ever so super useful as we go through. So you can tell you're speaking to the moderator. First up, she's called Alison. Secondly, she has a little blue spanner next to her name, and that shows that she's the one in charge. So what else are you going to need to know about this morning? Well, first up, I hope that you can see me and hear me right now. If not, best thing to do at any point, if the stream goes a little funny, best thing to do is give it a little refresh. We find turning it off and then turning it back on again tends to fix most of the issues. If you want to join in that instant chat with Alison, and I really hope you do, because it's your chance to ask questions, which we'll be then able to answer for you, then you'll need to be signed into your YouTube account. So you can easily do that. Click up on the box on the right if you're not browsing signed in already. You can sign up or sign in. If you do that right now, then by the time I've gone through the introductions, you'll be back with us and ready to get those questions answered. And if you get asked those questions, I'm going to pause throughout the session to check in with Alison, and she's going to send me some of your questions so we can answer them live on air together. So do get those questions in as you hear from them. So we're running this Google Digital Garage virtual training as part of our broader offering of courses. So there's lots of what I call signposts today. Today's a really good starter offer session. So you can start with us here today, and then I'll be anything that you come to that you think, yeah, that's what I need, I'll hopefully be pointing you in the direction of follow-on sessions that you can take. So do get jotting those down. You don't have to, there's a lot of information coming your way in the next 55 minutes or so. So you don't have to remember every single thing. Obviously, take your notes as we go through. But you'll be able to re-watch this stream because we'll keep it live for about 24 hours. So you can watch and enjoy now. My top tip is to jot down the time code of any of the things that you find particularly useful, and then you'll be able to go back in and go zip straight to the part that you think is useful. All right, then let's carry on. Oh, one more thing. If you need subtitles, some of you who've been with us before know that the subtitles used to display, but if you want to pop down and click on CC for the closed captioning, that's where you'll be able to find the subtitles. All right, then, let's carry on and have a look at what we're going to be taking some time with today. So first of all, we're going to take a look at digital. We're going to take a look at how digital works, how marketing works, and then we'll understand hopefully a little bit about the world we're playing in. Then we're going to take a big chunk of time. The main section today will really be taking a good look at some of the different marketing channels that you could use. And it's really, really important. As I say, there's a lot of information coming at you today. What I don't want you to think is you have to do every single one of these, because every business, every situation is different. So what the art, when we come to looking at that digital marketing planning, the art to doing that is basically to work out which of the things you should do. With your limited time and resources, what are the things that are going to give you the best results, the best returns, and the best impact for the time and money that you have to spend? Now, as I say, we'll spend most of the time talking about the different things you could do and give you a good understanding. As we go through, I'll be highlighting the kinds of situations where you might find these useful. So hopefully when we come to pulling together the digital marketing plan, you'll already have quite a good idea. Okay. And I really hope you find today's session useful. But just so you know, if you do work for a small business or for a charity and you're based here in the UK, then you can sign up for a free one-to-one mentoring session from Google. As I say, these sessions are completely free and they're available right now. You can get you can basically, from what you learn today, you may find you have more questions or you might want to go away, do your homework and come back and get somebody to help take you on to the next stage. With everything we do with the Google Digital Garage, we're looking to move you on a couple of steps, 2 or 3 steps that's going to help you to move your business forward. That's what we're always looking to do. So if you do need that, want a little bit of extra help, you get to spend an hour one-to-one with one of our mentors. Both Alison and I are involved in the mentoring program too, as are lots of our wonderful colleagues. So if you'd like to get involved with that, sign up, book a session at g.co/UK mentoring. And I'm sure Alison has already popped that detail into the chat for you. So let's jump on in. All right, let's take a look at the landscape. Let's take a look at the world we're operating in. And it's really important to do this every so often. Even if you are a digital marketing veteran, it's absolutely worth picking your eyes up every so often and taking a look at the world, at what's going on, so you can make sure you're taking advantage of any changes. And a good way to think about it is to think about, well, why? What am I trying to get from doing this? I think always, some people might say, oh, you should have email or you should have a website. Well, why? What sort of opportunities are you looking to get? Why not pop some in the chat, actually? What opportunity do you think you would like to get with your business? Tell Alison the kind of business you have. Tell Alison maybe where you're based, but really tell her what you would like to get out of being online. It's really interesting because I can make this session more interesting if I know more about the people we've got in the room, as it were. But also, it really, really helps you to focus on what you're trying to achieve. Okay, so let's let Alison know that. And let's have a think about the world we live in. Okay, so more so than ever, when I first started on working for the Google Digital Garage, these sessions were really quite different. And then over the last 5 or so years, these things have come into play a lot more. Smartphones. Okay. So if you think even before COVID, if you think how things have changed through COVID, if you think how things have changed from 5 or 6 years ago, when not everybody had a smartphone, now we all have a smartphone. We live in this mobile world. In the UK, 80% of people buy online. So it's a huge opportunity to reach those people, and people who've always bought online over the last 10 years are buying more and more online as time goes on. Okay, so as well as having, it's not a binary measure, we would think of it as the kind of share of wallet. So if people have got £100 to spend, they're spending more of that £100 online than ever before, because there are smartphones readily available that make connecting to the internet really quick and easy. Across the world, over 60% of searches are now done on mobile devices. If you think around the world, how quick and easy it is to take out a phone and do a search, now that we have the infrastructure and the devices that are available to do that, is much quicker and easier, unless you're already sitting working on your computer. If I'm working during the day, I might search for something there and then. But the majority of cases, I'm out and about and I'm looking on my phone. So the reason we talk about this is I really want you to root everything that you do in the terms of what your audience is up to, what your customers are up to, what real people are up to. Okay. So thinking about, okay, how would this affect those real people? And you can reach more people globally. Now, this globally is fantastic. Globally was the main selling point of the internet at the first place. You know, people, if you have a website, anybody from around the world can find it. You can find more potential customers, but think about it the other way around. Okay. You can also reach people locally. How many times have you taken out your phone and found the local plumber, the local cafe? People want to know what's going on nearby, even more so now than they did pre-COVID. Local, one of the, I'm a glass half full kind of girl, and one of the things that seems to have come out of the last couple of years or so is this drive for people to find out what's local to them. We've rediscovered our high streets. We've rediscovered the people who we can, you know, go and pick up curbside rather than having to order online. All right. So, and the other thing, of course, is if you're not there, they're not going to find another way to look for you. They'll just use one of your competitors. So it's absolutely worth making sure that you are found and findable. All right. This is one of my favorite tools. It's called Google Trends. It shows you whether people are searching for the terms you think they might be searching. We cover it a lot more in our webinar on search and on being found, which is called Get Your Business Visible on Google. I'll mention that one a couple more times. If you haven't seen that webinar yet, that might be a great next place for you to go. Because the other thing you can do is learn so much from the data. Here we've got a couple of screenshots. So one is from Google Analytics. So if somebody comes to your website, you can learn some things about them. But if you don't have your own website, then you can still learn things from people. If maybe you've got a social media profile, you'll be able to look at the insights provided by the social media platform. If you have any kind of business account, it's likely there are measurements there for it. If you want to know how to use those measurements or how to look at that data, we've got a webinar called Get Started with Analytics, and that looks at measurement as a whole. As I say, that's another one. It's a key webinar that I will mention probably several times through. The more you understand about the people, the more you can tailor what you're saying and what you're doing towards their needs, which is going to help you get a really good match for what you're up to. And the internet can help you with communication. If we were in a room together, I'd be asking you to pop your hands up if you've ever complained about something on social media. Or if you've ever given a compliment on social media, left a review. Reviews are this priceless source of real customer feedback. So even if they're not 5 stars all the time, if a real customer comes along and said, this could have been better, that's an amazing source. So don't be afraid of reviews at any point. Okay. People are communicating on social media, and you can communicate them. You can serve them better. You can help them to know what you're all about. If you want to know more about how to respond to reviews and how to write for social media, we have a webinar called Writing for Social Media. So join us for that one, and you'll start to learn a lot more about that communication process and how to make yourself best understood. All right. Now we're going to pop in and I'm going to check in with Alison. So I can see we've not got, right, we've got some people watching us. So we've got, and apologies if I say your name wrong. Is it Gochi? A presence online for brand awareness you're trying to, so you want to be found. Great. We'll come to that as we go through. Yasin wants to promote themselves as an expert in international trade. And Simera wants to create sign-ups on the website. These are all great things to do. We've got a mixture there of brand awareness building, and then we've got a mixture of people wanting people to take a direct action. And then we've got Oi Heart Peace wants to efficiently market online for those based outside their territory. That's a really interesting thing. We're going to talk about all those things. Those specific, very specific questions are going to all form part of our broader marketing strategy. So let's jump in and have a look at some of the tools that we might be able to take a look at. So let's look at those digital marketing channels. All right. First thing you need to know is, how you might get your messages to those potential customers. And we're going to look at 6 different ways to communicate. Okay, 6 different, we'll call them channels here. And all a channel is, as I say, a way of communicating with your potential audience. So we're going to take a look briefly, very briefly, as Alison will tell me, at search. We'll but look at the two sides of search, paid search and organic search. I won't say free. Very rarely hear me use the word free with relation to anything regarding marketing, because whether it's your time, whether it's the resources, there's always some kind of cost involved. Then we'll look at social media marketing. We'll take a look at display. Display, you've probably heard of search, you've probably heard of social media, you might not have heard of display yet. And in 20 minutes, you won't be able to say that. Display is a great way of getting your message out there to find people who don't know about you yet. We'll look at where I started, which was email marketing. And we'll also take a look at content marketing. Content is the thing that underpins everything, really. Content is how do you think up what to say? But there's lots of ways of getting that message across. Let's take a look at search. As I say, if we are 16 minutes in to the broadcast, if you find that search is what you probably want to do, not only can you come back and rewatch this section, but we have got that amazing webinar, which is called Get Your Business Visible on Google, that goes into so much depth on search. That would be a great next step from here. All right. Search is about understanding human behavior, as is so much of marketing. So you've probably seen something a little like this. This is the search engine results page. Now, you might have seen it a million times, but how often have you really looked at and thought about what you're seeing? Okay, so first up, we've got in yellow our search query. So this is the question that somebody has asked that they want to know the answer to. And human behavior being what human behavior is, you might be surprised at the kinds of questions that get asked. All right. We don't always search for the right terms. So when you're looking at your website and looking to get yourself found, be really thinking about those questions. What might somebody be looking for when they look for a business like yours? Then next up, we might find there are some ads running. So here we've got some nice pictures of shopping ads. These are where the query is something that sounds like, oh, it might be something that somebody wants to buy. I can display some ads that will show them potentially what they need. You might then have some text ads, which is the kind of ads we're going to talk about today, where you match some of the words, some of the question matches to what you've got to sell. And you say, I want that, I'm going to bid for that. And then down below here, we've got what we call the organic search listings, the natural search. Now, these listings aren't paid for. Anything that is paid for is very clearly marked either here as sponsored or there. It's titchy tiny, I know, for you on your screens, but with the word ad. Okay. So it's always very clear. But as I say, to get yourself found here in organic search is not necessarily free or easy, but there are things you can do. So to get yourself found, let's take a look at that natural search. All right. And I would always start with organic search before you look at paid. Make your mistakes whilst you're not paying for every single click. Join us, as I say, for Get Your Business Visible in Google if you want to go into this in a lot more depth. But there's a couple of things you can do. First thing you want to be looking at is, well, look at something like Google Trends and see whether people are asking the questions that you think they might be asking. And then you want to show that your website is a great answer to those questions. There's a tool that can help you, which is called the Google Search Console. And with the Google Search Console, not only can you let Google know about changes to your site, you can see how you're performing against different search terms, for example. And you'll be able to see whether, people are searching for what you think they're searching for. Are you showing up for the things that you'd like to be found for? Okay. Search engine optimization is not just a turn the handle. Pop some words hidden in the back of your website and everything will be fine. It's a lot more subtle, a lot more complex than that. But Search Console will be able to help you. In terms of then being found, you need to promote yourself around, but also making sure that you are tagged up usefully. So what I would always say is, in terms of doing search engine optimization well, Think of the people first. Keyword research. You might have heard the terms. What are your keywords? The keywords are the questions that people would type into the search engine to find a business like yours. So what would people type? What words would they use? How would they iterate their search? If I type one thing in and I don't get the right answer first up, how would the human being then change their search to make sure it was? Classic example would something like, if I wanted to look at holidays, I might type in holidays and then it might come up with all kinds of things. And then I might say, I want holidays in the UK, or I want luxury holidays, or I want cheap holidays, depending on what it is. I want holidays where I can take my dog. So thinking of those words, you might never be found as a small boutique hotel that also has yurts. You might not be found for just holidays. You might not even just be found for holidays in the UK. But if you can allow dogs, then when people put holidays where I can take my dog, that's where you're going to start to be found. Okay, so think about those words that people think about, what it is that makes you unique. Then publish content, talk about those things. Use the words that you think people are going to be, the words and phrases that people are going to be searching for, those keywords. Use them naturally when you publish any content or anywhere on the web. Search isn't just about somebody going to Google and searching. You know, we search all over the web, this searching behavior, and it's about building up a big picture. And then make your web pages search friendly. That's when we're looking at tags. That's when we're looking at headers. The title of your page is what becomes the title, the bit in blue of your search engine listing. So how do you make sure that that's going to be compelling and show people that that's a great result to switch on? There is so much to it, and it's lots more than just plonking some keywords in a keyword generator, okay? But something I've mentioned already is local search. So people are really, really interested at the moment in what's going on locally to them, okay? More so probably than any time for a very long time. So customers are searching for things near them. They might put in the term near me. Quite often people have started dropping the term near me because when you're searching, especially on your mobile, and you've got location on and it knows where you are, it will try and match you with things that are local to you in different kinds of ways. So there are different types of places that you might want to show off your local status. Things like Yell, that used to be the Yellow Pages, TripAdvisor. If you are in any kind of hospitality industry, you may well be being reviewed on TripAdvisor already, so you might as well take hold of that listing and get involved. Bing's another search engine. It will have something very, very similar. And the one I want to talk to you about is a tool called the Google Business Profile. Now, the Google Business Profile, it used to be called Google My Business, and quite recently just gone through a little bit of a tweak on the name change, because what the Google Business Profile is about small businesses, helping them to compete on that big stage. So what a Google Business Profile does, and we have a webinar. I haven't told you that for a while. We haven't had a webinar shout out for a while, but we've got a webinar that is called Find Customers with Google Maps. And this is all about how you would go about using the Google Business Profile to do exactly that, set up a business profile and get yourself found. So if you have a business with any kind of local intent, whether you go out to where people are or whether you want people to come and meet you at your premises, in that case, you're going to want the pin on the map. You might decide that you're somebody like a plumber. You don't want them turning up at your house, but you want to serve a local area. The Google Business Profile is a fantastic place to get yourself found. And it's one of the first tools I would always recommend for any local business, any smaller business wanting to be found. So you can take control of a portion of the search engine results page, and you can tell them all about your business. You can collect reviews there. You can post pictures there. You can let people know your opening hours. All right. And the more descriptive your listing, the better. Now, as I say, we've got a whole other webinar on that. Let's jump in and think about paid search or search engine marketing. Okay. Now, I will always say, make your mistakes and do your learning when you're not paying for that. So learn as much as you can through organic search, but especially if you're going for one of those more popular search terms, Or if you want to get moved a bit quicker, you may well find that at some point it is worth your while to think about kind of speeding things up a bit and getting yourself known by bidding for that. And that's what search engine marketing or search ads are for. Okay, so with search engine optimization, the listing itself is free. Okay, with search engine marketing, it says you pay for search listings. It's not quite true. You pay when somebody clicks on your ad. Okay, so if somebody clicks on if your ad is served to somebody 10 times, that's 10 impressions where 10 pairs of eyeballs have seen it, but they only click through once, you'll only pay once. And that will give you a click-through rate of 10% because 1 in 10 or 10 in 100 have clicked through. All right. So that's kind of the metrics that you'll be looking for. Obviously, the more impressions you get, the more chances you have to be clicked on. And the higher your click-through rate, the more relevant it looks like you are to that term. So both of those things are really important measures. With search engine optimization, you optimize. So you try to, with your content and with how you're saying it, you try and give a picture that these are the words we're looking at. With search engine marketing, it's a lot more direct. You say, these are the words I want to be found for. This is what I think my customer's searching. This is what I'm going to bid on. Okay. So you are being very direct and saying, this is what I do and don't want to be found for. So there we go. We go back to that holidays. If somebody's searching for holidays, you might be a luxury provider. So you might want to make it so you'll be found for luxury holiday, but discounted. Negative keyword would be cheap holidays. You don't want to be found if somebody's looking for cheap holidays because that's not what you provide. All right. And you can get on and off the first page straight away with the right search engine ads. Whereas with search engine optimization, it's an ongoing process and it can take time to rank. So what I have seen people do is, use the power of ads as they're building up that search engine strategy as well. The way to get started, actually, for me, would be to join our webinar that's called Get Started with Digital Advertising, where we look at different kinds of digital advertising. The tool that you use to get found with search engine marketing is called Google Ads. And it's not just for search ads, but the kind of ad that we're talking about right now would be that search campaign. We'll come back and look at some different ad types that you could use there in a moment. Then you choose the words that you want to be matched for. You choose the words that you don't want to be found for, those negative keywords like cheap, if you're a luxury holiday provider. And then you write some good ads. As I say, if you come to our Get Started with Digital Advertising, we walk through this step by step. And one thing that it mentions it here, I think it mentions it here as well. Yeah. So when you're looking at getting yourself found using paid search ads, think about your keywords, all right? Have a good, strong, tightly themed keyword list that's going to help you really, focus in on matching what the words people search for, matching them with a really closely matched ad. Don't just have one ad that has every single word anybody could ever possibly use to find a business like yours. If you've got a couple of strands to what you're doing, have different ads that focus on those. You might sell to trade and direct to customer. You probably want to have different ads because people come with different intents. People will search in different words. If I am a retail customer, I don't want to come to your wholesale page. I want to be diverted into your retail offering. So think about how and why people would be searching for that business like yours and create separate campaigns within. Ad extensions are fantastic. They are free to add. Things like you might have an extension that's your phone number. If you have a phone number for people to call, you might have extensions that have, a map to where you are if you want people to come. Looking at the types of extension available for your ad and add in as many as you can. You might have one that takes them directly to your sign-up page, directly to the services page. They can help your ads to stand out. And at the best point, they make those ads bigger. As I say, join us for that Get Started with Digital Advertising, where we do go a lot further. And if you're already running ads, then it might be, and if you're based here in the UK, it might be something that you want to pick up in a one-to-one session with one of our mentors. The other thing that I strongly advise you doing anytime you are, especially when you're spending money, you want to know where that money is going, what return it's having. And to do that, best thing to do is connect up your analytics accounts, because to run a search ad, you need to be directing people to a website. That's what search engine optimization is doing. You're sending people to a website. Search engine marketing, you're sending people to a website. Do not send traffic in at the top if you've got no idea what it's doing when it gets there. Pop in your analytics so you can say, right, for these people who came in through this ad, these are the actions they took. You can then go back and say, well, was it worth me doing it? I spent this much money. I got this much return. It's simple business maths then to work out whether it was worth you doing it and should therefore do more, whether it worked okay, but we need to improve it, or whether we didn't make back what we thought we were going to, and maybe we need to try a different tactic. Unless you're measuring it, you just won't know. So let's jump into display. All right, display it's a really funny one, actually. It's one of those terms that people have often not heard of. But when I show you a display ad, you will know exactly what I mean. All right. And these are ads that allow you. So let's just quickly jump back with search. Search is really good when people are looking. Okay. To be found in search, to be found to do search engine optimization, somebody somewhere has to be looking, asking the kinds of questions that you're a great answer for. All right. But what if they're not looking yet? What if they don't know about you? What if they're not in that place just yet? What if they don't know that they want you? All right. This is where one of the tactics you might want to use for people who don't know about you yet to raise awareness, to build that brand, is going to be called display. All right. Now, display ads, you have seen them. You see, so display ads, lots of different types of display ads. All right. And they come in and out of fashion. When I first started with looking at digital advertising, they used to be called banner ads, and they'd look quite like this. All right. Banner across the top. They're getting fancier. They're getting more visually appealing. And they're getting easier to run as well. All right. Back in the day, you used to literally contact the website that you wanted to run an ad on and see if you could put an ad there. Now you can use the Google Ad platform and display your ads in different places across the Google Ad network. Okay, so lots of websites, things like news websites, anybody publishing content, your local paper will be running display ads because it's the display ads that pay for those journalists to create that content. All right. Lots of different shapes and sizes of ad, and different websites offer different placement options. So this is where we go back in. If we want to start with display advertising, and as I say, it's far easier than I thought it would be when I first got back into it after a little while. You go and we're using the Google Ads platform again. So you sign up or sign in for Google Ads. If you've got a Google account already, you want to be adding Google Ads into your bag of tricks, and then you want to, this time, instead of creating a search campaign, you're going to create a display campaign. This is something else we go through in our Get Started with Digital Advertising webinar. We go into this in quite a bit more detail. But basically what you want to do, and the art, half of the art to display ads is actually choosing the right people and places to see your ads. Okay. With ads, with display ads, you pay per pair of eyeballs that sees your ad. With search, you pay for the click. This is a different model. So you need to work out how you're going to target the right kind of people. You might reduce the target audience, and we do want to reduce the target audience. Even if you think anybody could buy it, well, who are most likely to buy it? Restrict that audience down. Is there a geographic? Could we use geography to reduce the number of people we're serving our ad to? Because you're going to pay per 1,000 pairs of eyeballs that sees your ad. So it makes sense to have fewer people actually seeing them. Are you going to target on words that people have used? You can look at the content of the articles. Are you going to look at the placement and say, right, I want to be seen in this kind of publication for articles about this kind of topic. Lots of really good, strong ways. The more you know your audience, the better. Okay. And then you write ads that are going to be interesting to them, visually appealing ads, great imagery, a great hook, a call to action. What do you want them to do? Book now, visit us, find out more. All of those kinds of really active phrases that show people what you want them to do when they see their ad. All right. And within, if you want to be finding that the people you want to target, there's a tool within Google Ads and it's called the Display Planner, and that's going to help you to do just that. So the first thing to do, as with any kind of marketing, the absolute first step is understanding your customers. Okay, so the more you understand about the customers, the more targeted and the more insightful you can be with your ads. Remarketing is an interesting one. Have you ever been browsing a website, maybe you've popped something into the basket and then life has happened, so you've had to carry on and get distracted and go off and do something. A little bit later, you might see an ad for that very same pair of shoes kind of following you around the internet. That is somebody using what we call retargeting. So especially if you have a retail site, but you can do it if people have visited your website and then you want to remind them about it, you can target people who've already visited your site and go back and remind them that you're still there. Because human behavior says it might not be that they were not interested. Life might have just happened. So being there to remind them. So that's actually why a display is great for at the top of the funnel when people don't know who you are yet, but also later when they have bought from you or they have got a relationship with you, visited your website, etc., that you can remind them who you are. So it does work at both ends, actually. And with all kinds of marketing, everything we do, I want you to be trying something, testing it, and then tweaking it, making those changes, optimizing it, seeing, well, what happens if I do this? I want you to be scientists. I want you to be mad scientists doing your crazy experiments when you're doing your marketing. I wonder what happens when I do this, and then measure it and see what does. So let's take a look at social media marketing. Now we have 2 webinars for you on social media itself, which go, if when we've spoken about social media, you think that's what I want to do, then we've got these webinars, one called Writing for Social Media and a whole other strategy session on social media strategy that will be great next steps for you. But social media marketing is basically using ads on social to reach people who are hanging out on social. All right, so there I am. I'm scrolling through my news feed. If I've got an account on a platform, you've got a chance of reaching me in it. All right, so it means it's great at the top to raise awareness when people don't know me yet. It's also great at the bottom of the funnel when people know about me to remind them that they know about me, to get deeper involvement, to collect reviews, to get them to, they create content and I use that to reshare it and show how great the real voices of those customers think that our products are. Okay, so social media helps your business by helping it to be found, helping it to sell things. You can add value to your brand by going behind the scenes, by bringing people more in to you, improving your customer service. Like we said, those complaints and compliments that you can absolutely get those through your social media. And all round, improving your marketing by understanding your customers more. What do they like? What do they, who are they as people? All right. And the more you know about your customers, the better your marketing can potentially be. And with everything on the internet, really, there's normally 2 versions that you can use. You can use the organic social, which is, and as I say, there again, it's not free, because although you don't pay for the actions, it is going to take your time and your love and your thought and your creativity to create those social media postings. So there isn't a cost to make it. There's a cost to making them. There's not a cost to posting them, but you have a limited reach. You'll only reach a portion of your followers and a portion potentially of their friends and their followers if they decide to take an action. Which is where paid social media is really, really effective for a lot of businesses, in that you pay for the actions you want. Is that views? Is that clicks? Is that, visits to your website? And you can choose, so long as somebody has an account on that particular platform, you'll be able to use your demographics to find them. All right. You can reach people who don't know about you yet, which is where it's a great at that top of that sales funnel. They don't know about me yet. I want to show them an ad that's going to excite them. So when you're getting started with social media marketing, the most important thing is to work out who you are targeting. All right. So what do you know about them? Where are they based? And what do they like? And what platform do they hang out on for social media? Now, not just what platform do they hang out on, but what platform would they expect to see a business like yours? I've got accounts. As you'd imagine, I'm kind of in the biz. I've got accounts on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn. I wouldn't expect to see work type ads for what I do for my work in my Facebook feed. I wouldn't expect to see adverts for a new face cream in my Twitter feed, for example. That's probably more of an Instagram place. So it's not just matching the person to the platforms they use, but also what they'd expect to be seeing there. If I'm in my business work frame, I don't really want to be seeing photos for holidays, for example. Actually, right now, I want to see as many photos for holidays as I possibly can. But that's just because it's February and it's grey here in the UK. And so then the next thing you want to be doing, you choose the social media channels you want to use, and then you've got to think up interesting things to say. Your content. How are you going to post? When are you going to post? How are you going to manage your time so that you have fresh and interesting content going out regularly enough to kind of drive that body of work? So when you're looking at social media, as I say, my very first step would be to join us for our Get Started, Writing for Social Media and Social Media Strategy webinars. They're going to go a lot deeper in. But basically, set yourself a goal and set yourself one goal, all right? Just because there are 10 different social media platforms you could use, please pick one platform and one goal with one audience, all right? The more you understand about that audience, the better your ads are going to be if you build in that intelligence with them. And then you need to post consistently, regularly, interesting things that are going to be interesting to that audience, all right? And when we talk about in the Writing for Social Media, we go into how to think about generating that interesting content. I'm going to take you for a moment into email marketing. All right. Email marketing is, as I say, where I started. And for some people think it's kind of a bit old fashioned. And we get a lot of, well, let's have a look at, here we are. What is email marketing? I'll tell you what marketing is not. Email marketing is not junk mail. All right. Email marketing is not spamming. Okay, which is where email has got kind of a bit of an unfortunate reputation in some circles. Email marketing is permission-based, as in you have to have that person's permission. They have trusted you with their email address because they thought it would be a good idea to hear from you. Okay, so switch that mindset out of blanketing thousands of people. The fewer people on my email marketing list, the better. Because the fewer people are in my email marketing list, the more closely I can target. So I want it to feel like a one-to-one message for that person receiving it. I want it to feel personal to them. I want to make it sure that it is suited to their needs and at a time, a time when they want to do it and at a regularity that they want to receive it. Okay. So it gives you the opportunity to communicate one-to-one on a large scale. You're doing it one-to-many, but for the person receiving it, it should feel like it is personal between you and them. All right? They've told you they want to hear from you because you've followed the rules and you're only emailing people who've said they want to hear from you. So find them something interesting to say. Okay, getting started with email marketing, the hardest part is getting the lists and the permissions, to be honest. And you can only do that organically. That building of that list of relevant contacts. You can't use an old list that you found if you don't have permission to email them for the purposes that you want to email them now. You can't just start sending them emails. All right. So pick a platform, something like a MailChimp or an ActiveCampaign. You might even find that if you already have a database, that it has an emailing facility with it. All right. Then build up that list of contacts. Pop a sign-up form on your website. Have a call to action on some of your ads to sign up for your email newsletter. Okay, people give a discount code off and sign up for 10% off your first order. All right, that's how you go about building that list organically. Okay, then create useful, relevant content. All right. Think about those people as individuals. What do they want to know? You can do what we call segmenting the list. When you segment the list, you group it. And this is what I'm saying, so it should feel personal to them. The simplest segmentation you might have is people who have bought from you before. So they know you and trust you and like you enough to buy from you. And that might be your first list, your customer list. And then you might have a second list of people who've never bought from you, your prospect list. And then it's really important that when people do buy from you, you take them out of the prospect list and into the customer list, for example. And you will write a different email to your customers than you do to your prospects. Prospects, it's about giving it a try. Your customers, making them feel good that they bought it, keeping them warm for when they want to buy again, or asking them to recommend to friends. Okay. The shorter the email, the better. We are bombarded with email all the time. So just because you can make it whizzy and fancy and send all 400 things that everybody in the organization wants to say, it's not about what your organization wants to say. It's what's most useful for that customer to hear. So flip it around every single time. All right. Keep them as simple as possible. Make sure you do your test sends and your previews. I will always do a test send to whoever it is kind of the boss, to ensure that they are happy with the email and how it's going out. It's the best way to make sure that anybody, if you are working in that big organizer, that it is being scrutinized before it goes. If not, test send it to yourself and see what it looks like when it hits your inbox on a couple of different devices. All right. And then measure. The more you measure, the more you can learn. All right. See those. What are people interested in? When are they opening? What are they doing? Then finally, we're going to talk about content. Although we've been talking about content all the way through, content is the things that you say. And it's really difficult. It's like being asked to be funny. Think of a joke. You can freeze. It's the same with content, really. But there's lots of different forms of content. All right. So it might be video content, very popular. Blogs, so written content. Case studies, those people who have used your product and it's like a trusted third party recommending you. And guides, how-tos. They could be video guides, how to do it with a video. It could be a written guide. So your images, your day-to-day, your behind the scenes. I think in writing for social media, we talk a lot more about content, but content's really important wherever around you are, the world you are. And just like everything else, it starts with knowing who your audience are. And when you know who your audience are, then at different stages, as they get to know you, they're going to want to know different things. So plan that out, a kind of customer journey, right? They don't know about us yet. These are the things we want them to know. How are we going to create content, videos, pictures, guides that take them to the next step, which is knowing who we are and wanting to get involved with us. So that journey map shows whereabouts they are, how they're going to hear from you, and what content is going to be right. And then you go about building that content. All right. It's all about picking the right content out to the right channels. So using that content to draw that, when we say use content to facilitate the sales process, you know the kinds of frequently asked questions that people might ask. So make sure your content's answering some of those questions. How do I fit the part? Here's a little video that shows you how to fit the part. What's your returns policy? Here's some content that's my returns policy. Content isn't all about fancy pictures that show, somebody jet skiing whilst using the phone or whatever it is that it is. So make sure when you distribute the content that you're putting the right content in the right places. You're measuring and you're seeing, do people watch the videos? How long do they spend on the videos? How can I optimize? If people are only getting to a minute in of my 5-minute video, how can I tell the story better so that they get there? They either stay interested for the whole 5 minutes or I tell the story in 1 minute. I know we've got questions coming in, but I also know that Alison is there and she is answering them. And I want to jump into this third section. If we have time at the end, I will take some of your questions. But right now, I want to jump straight into how we go about building that digital marketing plan. All right. Now, hopefully, I'm not going to really tell you anything new now. What this digital marketing plan will give you is an overriding organizational structure, really, for your marketing activity. But most of what we've said already, it should already start to be floating in and falling into place when we start to talk about this overview. So your plan will be, step 1, think about your business. What does your business need to achieve? All right. Step 2 is to think about your budget. So internally to your business, what skills do you have? How much money have you got? What time can you dedicate it to the different channels? And then 3, we're going to think about the people, the audience. Who are they? Where are they? What are they up to? What do they need to know from us? And when you've got those 3 things together, it's at that point you decide which are going to be the best of those channels that we've already spoken about to use. And I highlight again, I do not think you should be using every single channel just because we've spoken about them. So it's really to give you a broad enough understanding that you know the 1, 2, maybe 3 things that you're going to focus in on. All right. You decided your channels, you plan out the activity that matches to what the customer needs and what the business needs. Then you make sure you're measuring. SMART, you might have heard that acronym before. What I want you to do is, if you know what SMART measurements or SMART objectives are, I'd like you to tell Alison, and we'll have a little competition and we'll find out who the end knew what we were. So let's think about your business, all right? I want to introduce you to our fictional friend called Max. Now, Max is a hairdresser and her business goals are to get new customers through the door, get previous customers back through the door, and make more people in the area know that the business exists. These are the kinds of objectives that so many small businesses can probably relate to, which is why we use Max. And most of us, if not in the last 2 years, at some point in the past, have visited a hairdresser. So we kind of have an idea of how that kind of business works. All right. So Max wants new customers, old customers, raising awareness. Fantastic. We've not gone for too many things that they could do. We're going to focus in on those objectives. Now, those are the business objectives. I want you to think up online objectives that can help achieve your business goals. Don't have a website just because you've told you should have. How is that investment in building a website going to support my business goals? All right, so think about the online objectives. It might be to increase traffic to a website, because if I get more traffic to my website, I can get them to take the actions on my website. It might be to increase those sales online or bookings online, because I know that a booking online or a sales online, I get this return. It might be at the other end to start, people don't know about me yet, so I want to increase brand awareness by getting more likes or followers, increasing that online reach and awareness. These are the sorts of things you might say. And how do they match into your business goals? So for here we have sell more products. If my business goal is to sell more things, my online objective might be to increase those website sales. If my business objective is to reach more new customers, get found by more people, I might decide it's by increasing my social media page likes and follows. You see how it works? Here's my business objective. These are the objectives that are digitally going to help me to do that. And then I want you to look internally at your budget and your resources. Budget means, and resources means your skills, the cash you've got, and the time you've got as well. All right. So Max doesn't have a website yet. It's too much of an investment right now. And that is fine. 5 years ago, 10 years ago, not having a website might have been a real barrier to being found online, but not so now, because there's lots you can do with social media and with other tools available. All right. Thirdly, who are the people? Now, Max is very lucky. Max meets the people when she cuts their hair. So for Max, the audience are female and they're local because people don't travel too far for a hairdresser, for most hairdressers, all right? Max also knows that the most valuable customers are female and they're over 30 years old. Maybe they take all the extra services. Maybe they have that bit longer time and they have the highlights done as well as the cut, rather than just younger students just having a dry cut. Okay, so Max knows the most valuable customers, really important. They're female, they're over 30 years old. And because Max meets them, she knows they normally have children and they work part-time. And also from chatting to them, knows that most use Facebook. It's all great information. Every time she hears something, I want her jotting down that information and how she might use that in her marketing mix, which is what we're looking at now. Okay, so which channels are going to be right for you? And depending on your objective, so here, we're working at the top of that sales funnel to increase the online reach and awareness. People don't know about me yet. Tools that are great for people who don't know about me: display. I can target the websites that they're on and show them my ads. Fantastic. They don't know about me yet. Display might be great. Social media. They don't know about me yet. I might pop some social media ads out there. All right. Content marketing. How am I going to tell that story? If people know about me and I want to increase those sales, they're ready to take that action, I might use search. I might use search engine optimization, search engine marketing. And in terms of increasing those website sales with people who already know about me, and actually email marketing. If they've trusted me with their email address, I can prove that they clicked on my email, came right through and bought what I wanted them to buy. Okay. And then you get in and plan that activity. So depending on what you want to achieve, Max has an online objective to reach more people in the local area, get more returning customers. What can they do? That Google business profile. All right. Getting that Google business profile that gets them that local listing, setting up a Facebook page, putting out their content, their beautiful hairstyles, their reviews, and then maybe using some Facebook advertising to go out and target the people where they are and bring them, because they know that most of their customers are using Facebook. It's a great platform for them to choose. And finally, measurement. Let's check in with Alison. And Alison tells me, Edward, big round of applause to Edward, because Edward knows that SMART is specific, measurable, achievable, reliable, and timely. All right. So how are you going to know if you've succeeded? Because you're going to check your objectives. You're going to measure things. You're going to join us for our Get Started with Analytics if you don't know how to do that. So for instance, if I wanted to have increase online sales, I'm going to increase online sales by this amount within this amount of time. Okay, so I've bound it by a time. I've said what I'm going to achieve, 20%. I might say with new customers, I might say with returning customers, make it more specific. All right. The more focused you can be with your goals, the more focused you can be with the actions that you're going to take. So how does Max's digital marketing plan look? Okay, Max doesn't have a website, can't afford one right now, wants to reach more people in the local area and get more new and returning customers. This is what it looks like. So first out, that business goal, reaching more people in the local area. Who with? Females 39 to 45 who are local and who've known them before, for example. What channels are they going to use? They're going to use local SEO, so local search engine optimization, things like Google My Business, and Facebook, because there's the channels we know they're going to use. This is the activity they're going to do. They're going to boost their visibility on Google. They're going to use Facebook advertising. Their online objectives and how they translate of increasing online reach turns into increased Facebook page likes from new people within 50% within the next month. Amazing. So remember how we did it. We had our 6-step plan. We've said what our goals are, what our budget is, what resources we have, who that audience are. Then we decide what channels are going to help us to do those things, plan out the activity, measure it. And this should be in a circle, because this isn't a straight line thing. Pop it on a piece of paper, shove it away in a drawer. This should be changing and growing all the time. All right, my friend, we have run out of time, and I can tell that Alison's answered all your questions already. What I'd love you to do right now is pop into the chat what your next step from this session is going to be. All right. It's really important that you plan out those next steps before you go off and have your cup of tea and get involved with whatever real life has to offer for you today. If you're based here in the UK, then one of those next steps might well be to sign up and request a free one-to-one mentoring session from Google at g.co/UK mentoring. Other than that, thank you so much. Thank you for your engagement today. Thank you for all those questions. I've got to wrap up here as we are completely out of time. Huge thanks to Alison for being the most amazing moderator you could wish for. I hope it's been a useful dive into digital marketing strategy for you. Check out our website. It's linked below, where you'll find those other webinars that I strongly suggested that you sign up for, but also lots more useful materials from Google that are hopefully going to help you along that digital marketing journey. So as I say, thank you to you for joining us today. Alison and I look forward to welcoming you again to another Google Digital Garage training session sometime soon. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day.